Hello, everyone. This is Dr. B from Steps to the Future, with another College and Career Conversations with Dr. B. This evening, my guest is someone who I had the opportunity to actually meet in person pre-COVID, and I'm just so delighted to be able to bring her here with you and with all of us this evening. Remember, those of you that are watching live, make sure you share this out with your friends. If you get to watch it on replay, please hashtag replay and let us know that you watched the replay. You are more than welcome to join in the conversation. So if you have questions, you have some comments, or you want to add something to the conversation, you know what you need to do. Just go to that comment box and let us know. We will be right back in a second, and I'll give you a brief introduction of our guest this evening when I come back. Be right back, folks. So here we are back in the broadcast room, and I want to bring on the screen my guest this evening. We have with us this evening Miss Portia Grady, and let me just I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of who Portia is, and she will be able to tell you all about who she is. So a lot of times I get my fellow educator people, friends who are teachers, asking, what else can you do as a teacher? What if you want to change careers? What is there to do? Portia is a fantastic example of that. She is a former teacher turned serial entrepreneur with a passion for people, education, family, and friends. And I can tell you right now, that is her to a T. I had the opportunity to meet Portia, as I said, prior to COVID, actually probably a couple of years before COVID, and we met on LinkedIn. And then we decided, okay, so we know each other through this social media platform, and we're in the same city. So we decided to go down to my favorite tea shop in downtown Fayetteville, Winter Bloom Tea. So a shout out to Josh and Winter Bloom Tea. And we had a chance to meet, and we just have stayed in contact. And I've been so pleased to be able to follow the progression of her career and what she's doing with friends. Upscale comfort food, because it is amazing. So Miss Portia, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so sorry for my voice. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. We are so pleased to have you here. So tell me a little bit. So I know you went to UNC Pembroke and you majored in education, and then you minored in entrepreneurship.
Right.
So did you always have it in the back of your mind that you were going to move into entrepreneurship?
I did. I've always had that desire, even in college. I would even say before college, when CDs were a thing, I used to create CDs for people. So if there was a business to be had, I tried it throughout my journey throughout school. But yeah, education was my major and entrepreneurship was my minor.
Okay. So tell me about your teaching career. How long
Yes,
did that last?
UNC Pembroke has a phenomenal education program in that it's built a great rapport with the community around the university.
Mhm.
And so I actually switched my major 7 times in college. And I went back to education twice. So I said twice, 3 times is a charm. I'm going to stick with this one. But no, I had a real love for children and teaching and reading and learning and growing and thriving. And so I rolled out with education. So I graduated from Pembroke, from UNC Pembroke, and I taught in Robinson County.
Okay.
So I taught in Robinson County for about a year. And while I taught in that area, just because I have a love for that area, when I taught in that area, I taught first grade and fourth grade. And I learned very early on that having a good teacher mentor is something that's vital. And thankfully, because of the university, I had already had mentorship in that area, and it just transcended over into the school that I was in. So I had a great mentor, great support system in Robinson County, but I had a desire to teach somewhere else. I didn't know where else, but I just wanted to branch out to another city, state. I was just open. And so I joined Teach for America. I applied for Teach for America. It was a 2015 cohort. I applied, I went through the entire process, and I taught for about 6 months with Teach for America before deciding, before that entrepreneur itch started, rearing up. And then I decided to get some experience with corporate America. So I joined Apple Incorporated. And if I'm jumping around too much, please let me know.
That's okay. You're fine.
But yeah, I went to, I did Teach for America for about 6 months, and then I decided to transition to corporate America.
Okay. Okay. Yep. As you said, that entrepreneurship itch got to you. So I see we have a few people watching. So make sure, folks that are out there, say hello. Let us know who's out there watching. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, you want to join the conversation, please put your question or comment in the chat so that we can pull you into the conversation.
Yeah.
So what was your first? So when I met you, you were doing other work, but I remember the conversation you were talking about a catering company that you had on the side, and that you were hoping to one day grow it. And it's funny because then I turn around and I'm like, whoa, she's doing this. She's doing this. So what made you finally decide to take that leap?
So I was actually with workforce development. My job was to help young people find jobs. So, and that's how actually you and I connected. Some of them, they just had a lot of different career pathways, and a lot of them, they didn't know what they wanted to do. They didn't know if they wanted to go to college, or if they wanted to learn a trade and get a job, or if they wanted to be an entrepreneur, et cetera. So that's where I met you, Dr. Wilkerson. But during my work, it was a contract job. I worked for the contractor, not for the city directly. So I knew that was going to be a short-lived thing. Well, I won't say a short-lived thing, but I know it was temporary. So once my year of doing that was up, I took the leap. I made the proposal to Mahalia and a few other friends, because anytime we would all get together, it would be over food, and I would cook. I love to entertain and cook, and I believe presentation of your food is everything. And so I would go above and beyond in plating my food and presenting the food. And so I said, hey, we should take this show on the road and offer this to other people, because catering is a thing, right? I didn't know that before, but I'm like, yeah, people would love to have this experience. And so made the proposal to a couple friends. And Mahalia said, you know what, this is a crazy idea. I'm getting ready to go into medical school, but I'll help any way that I can. And I want to do it. I want to partner. And so I said, if you trust me, then, we'll go all the way with this thing. And so I made the decision, I want to say it was February last year, to quit my full-time job and to pursue this 100%. And it's been an interesting ride ever since.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you took that leap to quit your full-time job?
I quit it. Yeah. The timeliness of everything was uncanny, because I quit in February and COVID shut everything down in March. Oh. So I started questioning my judgment. I'm like, did I make the right decision? Was it the right time? I know what my gut was telling me, but did I jump too prematurely? Like, the good thing about having an education background is I'm like, well, I have something to fall back on. I can always, maybe the timing isn't right. Maybe I could just go back to teaching. And I even entertained that during my downtime of entrepreneurship. Okay. I'm like, something has to give. But when I took the leap, I told myself, I'm going to devote 6 months to figuring out a strategy to make money. Because at the time I wasn't making money. I left my good job to pursue a dream, and I wasn't making money, and my bills weren't stopping. So I'm like, I got to get really creative. So we did get creative and we started offering private dining experiences and we started catering to micro weddings and smaller events.
Okay.
Still that elevated dining experience, but we wanted to, just be able to offer people something just on a smaller, of course, a smaller gathering pool.
Right. Right.
So
And
we just got really, uh-huh.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we got really innovative with how we wanted to present our food to people in a smaller setting without compromising the way that we do things, the
Right.
service and the servitude and all that fun stuff.
Yes. I remember at our an organization I belong to, Net Worth, we meet monthly and we had luncheons, and this was definitely pre-COVID. And I remember, seeing some of your Instagram stuff and some other things, and I said, and one month it was my turn, and Anne Marie Ziegler, it was our turn to take care of the luncheon. And I said, why don't we reach out to Friends Upscale? And and we met with you, and you and your crew did a fabulous job. I mean, we still talk
Thank
about
you.
that lemonade. You just,
Yes.
and everything was just so, it was just, the presentation was excellent. In addition
Thank
to everything tasted so good,
you.
so I was just so thrilled. And like I said, I love watching to see where you're going with this.
Thank you
So
so much
so
for that.
yeah. So during COVID, what else did you do to help you pivot to stay out there in the forefront?
I used a lot of the downtime that we had to do internal, what would I say, internal cleaning, in that I knew I had the passion to do what I was doing, but there were some things that I felt were halting our growth,
Okay.
in that procedures, policies. Me and Mahalia had the manual, but we didn't have the manual to share with other people. And
Okay.
anytime you're experiencing any certain level of growth, delegation has to take place. You have to have a team of people that you trust that can carry forth the vision that you have. And we didn't have a plan in place to do that. So I feel like while we were doing the intimate dining experiences and still cooking and still feeling our passion, we had a lot of time to do a lot of cleanup internally. And so I'm glad that we had that downtime because now we have a lot more staff, a lot more team that I'm pretty sure if they would have connected with us back then, they wouldn't have stayed because we didn't have all of our stuff together internally. It was just a me and Mahalia thing. And so we use that time to really fine tune our business plan. Who is our market? What is our, just answering a lot of the questions that need to be answered in the business plan that we did not have answered before. Um, and so I feel like that has played a major role in the growth that we have now. Um, I will say as well, in networking with, Dr. Wilkerson, I'm a big advocate for networking. Anytime you have any realm of business, because you never know who knows who and who can make a connection for you. Like we were just talking about LinkedIn and how, um, how instrumental LinkedIn can be with connecting you to different people and opportunities. And just something as simple as during the time that you and I connected, it was about something completely different from
Yeah.
catering. And then we circle back around and you got us to cater an event. And from that one event, we connected with so many other people. Like, I don't know if I should say this or not, but some people that we catered for who were there, we actually catered for a major festival as a result of them having our food from you inviting us. And
Yeah.
so, I just feel like that connection would not have been there had you not facilitated that. But that was very instrumental in our growth. Um, and so, just timely things like that, just having that connection with you through our love for education and serving people, it transcends everything. And making those connections are so important. That's something that we advocate, not just with me and Mahalia, but to our team, our staff, and everything else. Networking is like 85% of what you do.
Yes. Yes. I am so glad you said that. So I remember I'm going to send a shout out here to Jan and Pat, who are
That's them.
sponsors of the Indigo Moon Film Festival,
Yeah.
and they're also the owners of the Rainbow Room and Skyview on Hay. And I'm just so thrilled that they saw the excellence that you brought to the Net Worth Luncheon that day,
Yeah.
and stepped out on faith and said, yes, we're going to have this young lady also as one of the caterers at our event. So it was so thrilling. You know, I was like a proud mama.
Yes, yes. And I think I messaged you and let you know,
Yes.
thank you for that, because just facilitating that. And Jan and Pat, they've been around a very long time. They've been in the city a very long time. And
Mhm.
so for us to, at that time, have been embraced by veterans of the city of Fayetteville,
Yes.
that was just, it was such a great exchange. And they actually told us this had to be like 2 years ago. They actually
Yes.
told us, they said, if you ever open a restaurant in Fayetteville, do it downtown. And we just announced on Friday that we are opening a restaurant downtown Fayetteville. And the downtown Fayetteville community has embraced us so much. Um, we are so thankful for that embrace. And I feel that Dr. Wilkerson is a part of a credit to you in facilitating that relationship, because from there, and at the time we didn't know who we were serving. We were just showing our
Mhm.
passion. Um, but we operate in excellence, and I wanted to make sure that the food was good too. But from
Yes.
there, it scaffolded a lot of relationships with, um, just signature people here in the city of Fayetteville. And so I just feel like things are now coming full circle for our company.
So tell me how you went about. So you talked about, the mentoring, and that you and Mahalia during that downtime in COVID really worked on your policies and processes and your manual and your business plan. How did you grow your staff?
Yeah, so a part of working on our business stuff, we worked on ourselves individually as well, right? Because COVID, the impact of COVID, Mahalia's in medical school,
Mhm.
and that impacted her a lot differently than it did me. In regards to, my thought process was, I wish I had a wedding to cater right now, or I wish I had an event to cater right now. I was down and out of
Right.
work. But for her, she was a frontliner being in medical school. She's like,
Mhm.
this is something that I'm learning from. This is a takeaway experience. And so we did some individual work in that we sought um, therapy when we connected with life coaches. And my life coach, I thought I was just getting my life together, but instead of just getting my life together, I was getting my business life together as well through her coaching and also mentorship. Um, with that, life coaching opened the door to restaurant mentorship and food industry mentorship with other veterans in the community who are caterers. Edna and Lou, we consider them mentors in the catering industry and the restaurant industry. And just a lot of other people who had poured into us during that time on really just getting creative on how we wanted to just stay afloat and stay relevant, for our business. But with
Right.
growing our staff, especially during COVID, um, we really just put the petition out there, in that we were seeking individuals who could capture the essence of our company, who understood um, not just the marketing, the colors and the hashtags and stuff, but truly the culture of our company, and shared that love and passion for food and service of people as well. And so once we put that petition out there,
Mhm.
we received a lot of feedback. I will say a lot of feedback. We received quality feedback, um, and from there, we good people will bring you other good people. Um, Especially in this industry where turnover rate is insane. You're in and out. That's just the inevitable. Um, but we've had some very talented people to join our culinary team, to join our service team, and even our administrative team, who helped catapult our business and take our company up even more.
That is so fantastic to hear, because as I talk to people that own businesses and have staff members, that has been one of the hardest things where they've been hit the hardest with COVID is finding quality help, quality staff that will stay, that will understand the vision of
Yeah.
their company and present their work the same way that you would present your work. So it sounds like you folks have been pretty lucky, but let me back that up. I was getting ready to say luck, but there's that whole thing about preparation plus, opportunity. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm messing it up, but you know what I'm talking about. But you
Yeah.
were prepared by sitting there using that downtime instead of saying, "Woe is me. We're not going to do this. Let me just." You use that time to work on yourself internally and work on the business externally, and
Yeah.
it's now you're reaping the benefits of that. The other thing you said that I really liked is the whole thing about life coaching. I think sometimes we get caught up in, I can get this done. I don't need any help. I've got this. And the fact that you reached out to, someone doing life coaching and also to other people in the business, when you mentioned Edna and Lou, I wanted to break out into a big smile because they're such great people who want the success of everybody else too.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, and genuinely,
Yeah.
genuinely. So I had experiences before where, especially just being young, where I just felt that my thoughts or my talents or my gifts were being overlooked or not taken seriously. Um, but Edna and Lou have both been very consistent in the mentorship and advice that they give because they truly want to see us win. And once I understood that and I accepted that, and applied, feedback, and she still, she'll text me in a heartbeat. Hey Portia, I saw this picture. Tweak this, or hey Portia, are you available for this date? Because we want to send you this event.
Right.
Edna and Lou, they actually referred us for one of our first big um, catering gigs, because before we weren't making money, we weren't really charging our worth. And so she kind of schooled me on that and helped us get some money, helped us get some money going. But yes, no, seriously, being open to receiving that, because especially my generation, full of entrepreneurs, we want a cute logo and we want to have ownership over some things, which is totally fine. We empower that, we embrace that, but there comes a season and a time where sitting under someone and getting that mentorship is just going to catapult you for greatness when it's time for you to launch out and do your own thing. Um, I always say collaboration over competition any day because it's enough for everybody to kind of have a seat at the table, as our tagline is for the restaurant. But but no, I'm a huge advocate for life coaching and for mentorship because that changed my life tremendously. I'm at the point now where any of my friends that we talk about life problems and life troubles, if it get too deep, I just refer them to my life coach. I refer her to everyone, and I'm like, if she's not for you, she can refer you to someone else who may be for you. But I'm a huge advocate for that as well.
Okay. That I love that. I love what you said about your generation, because I think sometimes we have these set ideas about different generations and who does what and who's capable of doing what, and what the characteristics are of the generations. So I just loved how you took that generational overview and talked about sitting under someone and learning. That is so it takes me back to the folk tales and stuff that you hear from the African culture about
Yeah,
listening to your elders,
yeah,
listening to those who came before you, who took those steps before you. But you did it, and you had some fantastic people to sit under and listen
yeah,
to,
yeah.
and just put it all into play. I am just so, I don't know. Like I said, I sometimes when I see your stuff on social media or I'll see a picture, I have like the biggest smile on my face because
As you should, as
it's
you
just
should.
so, yes, it's just so good to see how well you're doing. So what do you think has been one of your, aside from COVID, because we know for everyone that was a challenge. So aside from COVID, where do you feel that maybe your biggest blocker or barrier or challenge was?
I would say it was internal. It was myself. Um, and I'm saying that because even though we had that downtime to get things together and um, get things put on paper, the practicality of some of that stuff just wasn't real until we actually experienced some of the stuff. And we got some feedback from some of the team. They're like, this is not practical, this is the operating procedure. And that worked for you in the capacity that you were in, Portia and Mahalia, but the capacity that we're in now, this isn't working. um, and so a beautiful thing about me is during my time with Apple, they encouraged us to think creatively. So if we had an idea or if we had some type of feedback or response, they actually listened. They may not implement it. They may implement it. It may be something that come down the line or whatever, but they actually listen. And so that's something that I wanted to implement into my company is that I wanted to be so open that
Right.
if something that we're doing can be done better, I want to hear it. I'm open to it, open to ideas. So I'd say just being, you know, open to change, adjusting, not having everything right. Because I mean, me and Mahalia put together like a 48-page standard operating procedure for catering,
Okay.
and we probably had to get rid of 43 pages, not including the title. So we were just open to adjusting. We were open to
Okay.
adjusting, and a part of that was because of the growth that we were experiencing. So that was a good problem.
Yes.
I think that was probably the most challenging hurdle that we encountered.
Okay, that's fantastic. So what are your favorite types of catering jobs, or do you have one?
I don't have one. I just like to say for every life milestone event, we're there. Whatever it is, and what's big to me may not be big to any of our other friends. And I don't like to call our customers, our clients. I like to say friends, because that's just the ambiance that we want to set. Um, but we've done things like bar mitzvahs, weddings, birthday parties, baby showers, gender reveals, um, church conventions, family reunions. Um, Even private dinners, just because date. We've done private dining experiences for that. Anything, any life milestone. I don't actually have a favorite. I don't have a favorite, type of catering event. Anytime we get to showcase our food and our service, and in our company, I think is a great opportunity. So I don't think I have a favorite.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you mentioned the opening, the coming opening of your new restaurant. So how did you go from your catering company to a brick and mortar?
Yeah, so it's always been a desire of ours to eventually be able to offer the dining experiences that we offer during catering to the
Mhm.
general public, just because it came sooner than we had planned, but it came timely. It's perfect timing for us. Um, one of our mentors, Mr. Manning, he actually sent us the RFI, which is a request for information
Mhm.
for the Sistel building, which is where we are. Um, and he said, I'm looking at the request that they have, and excuse me, he's like, I'm looking at this and I can see you guys there. I think this fits the ambiance, but check it out, see if it's something you're interested in. So we looked at it and we're like, we love it. So we did the RFI, we responded, and Jacqueline over at Allison Capital, um, who they're over the Sistel building, they
Mhm.
received our RFI, and we scheduled a tour. And when we toured it, Mahalia says it felt like home. It felt like we were in our space. And so we shared that with her. And, we just shared a lot of things in common for what we thought about the space and what we wanted to have or portray in the space. And so it was a perfect timing and a perfect thing for them and for us. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how that came about.
Okay, so tell me how you came up with the name The Friends Table.
So that was a collaborative effort with Allison
Okay.
Capital and Friends Upscale Comfort Food. So Friends Upscale Comfort Food is our catering company, and we put an emphasis on friends because that's the culture of our company. We want everyone to feel as friends. And then the upscale comfort food is what we specialize in, but with an
Hmm.
upscale manner. We elevate all dining experiences in that we want our guests to feel like royalty. The ambiance is really already set in the restaurant for that
Right.
anyway. Um, and so we were talking about, keeping friends. We wanted to keep friends and have friends in there because that's just the culture of our company. And the table, because it's really the Friends Table Restaurant and Provisions Company. So
Okay.
the Friends Table came about because deals are brokered at a table. Um, conversations are had at a table, food is consumed at a table. It's a lot that happens at a table. Um, and so we just wanted to capture that. And then the play on words, a seat at the table. We truly felt like we were having a seat at the table. Some generations before us say, we want to get through the door, or, get to the door. Or if you can't get through the door, go through the window, etc. So now we have a seat at the table, I feel. So that
Oh,
was a play on words there, not just, culturally, but also with our generation too. Um, the restaurant provisions naturally is going to be a dine-in and takeout restaurant,
mhm,
and the provisions portions because our culinary team, who's very creative, Chef Lanasia, is very creative and innovative in her work with me as well. Um,
mhm.
she actually makes a really nice vegetable broth from scratch. It's a
Ooh,
beautiful process in how she does it, and it is magnificent. And we actually use it in all of our vegetables now. Um,
okay.
it's good for all different dietary preferences, etc. But that's going to be a part of our provisions, as well
Okay.
as if the clients in the Sisto building want to have a grab and go dinner, they can have that. That'll be a part of the to go provisions.
Right.
So that's kind of where that came about. It's a lot of different things to dissect from our name, but it was a collaborative thing with Allison Capital and us, and we all just fell in love with the name and what it represented and what it meant to us.
I love what you said when you said earlier, collaboration over competition.
Hmm.
That is such I wouldn't say non-American way, but I guess in the Western civilization, it's about the individual, the rugged individual out there going it on their own, and I just love that whole collectivist attitude of there's enough for everyone. There is
Yeah.
enough for everyone. We just need to collaborate. I'm gonna real
Mhm.
quickly. I'm gonna see if I can go to this. I want to actually share your YouTube, I mean, not your YouTube, your Instagram page. So let me
Oh
see if
yeah.
I can pull this up here without making a mess. So
Okay.
here we go. So here is Friends Upscale. This is their Instagram page. So for those of you that are watching and you want to follow this fantastic company, you just go to their Instagram page and you see here their announcement about Friends Table coming up. So you can see that and you can just see some of the delicious serving, some of the other events that they've had the opportunity to participate in. Um, Look at these. I mean, I'm sitting here now I'm getting hungry. I'm starting to salivate you
Yeah.
know so
Uh-huh.
I love seeing this and just seeing all the different items that you have, and I love your staff there all masked up and what have you. So folks, go to their Instagram page, check out what they're doing, look for them on other social media, but you definitely want to find out more about the Friends,
Yeah.
the Friends Table, what they have to offer. And you said you were opening up the schedule, opening is in October?
Yeah. We're slating for October, and we actually City View magazine. They had an event at the Sisto building, and they asked to use our restaurant space as a check-in. And So they welcomed us to serve hors d'oeuvres to the guests there. And so we were in our space. Actually, this was Saturday, I want to say. Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday. Um, and that was the first time that we were in our space with other people. And we had a couple samples from some things that's coming out on the menu, and it was well received. Um, they loved everything that we had, and we're so thankful and excited for that. So we may be pushing that date up. It depends on a couple things, but that date may be pushing up. But it will, we will be open to the public in October.
Okay, that is so great. In the Sistel building, that's 225 Green Street, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So for those of you who live in Fayetteville, Cumberland County, you all know where the Sistel building is on Green Street. It's kind of diagonally across from the well, no, not diagonally. Is it right across from the Episcopal Church? I
Yes.
think that's, yep. St.
Yep.
John's Episcopal Church is right across the street. So if you're familiar with Green Street and downtown Fayetteville, you can't miss it. I think it's also I think the Sistel building is also the tallest building in downtown
It is.
Fayetteville.
It is the tallest building. Yes.
Yes. So you cannot miss it. So folks, you make sure that you're looking for this and you're paying attention. So I'm going to pivot a little bit here. So one of the things I was reading about you, and I think I saw this on LinkedIn, is how you're giving back to your alma mater, how you're giving back to UNC Pembroke. So tell us about what you're doing with Pembroke now.
Yeah, so I am on the board of directors for Alumni Association. So pretty much, I actually just got assigned to a couple committees: a homecoming committee, communications committee, and it's one more awards committee. And so, yeah, I'm instrumental with connecting with other alumni and encouraging some upcoming Braves to just stay connected. Um, Not just with career placement, but also with, just wherever life takes you after graduation, as well as seeing them through graduation. So it's kind of a little bit of everything. But I was just awarded that position, that seat, and it's going to last about 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. So here you go, still using your teaching, your education background, going full circle. So I think this is what I love about what it is you're doing. So you went and you were trained as a teacher, you had some teaching experience, had that minor in entrepreneurship, and always had that in the back of your mind that you were going to do something with that. And now we see the perfect marriage between the two.
Mm-hmm.
With your catering company, the new restaurant that's coming, your seat at the table,
Yeah.
the alumni committee, and how you're still giving back to
Yeah.
those that are coming up.
Yeah. The beautiful thing that also came full circle is um, a then recent graduate of UNC Pembroke messaged me. It was summertime. She had just graduated. She was thinking about, what she wanted to do. And she said, how can I connect with your company? What can I do? And I said, you can come to the restaurant tomorrow. I'll put you to work. And Kayla, she joined our team, and I got to know her even better, and working with her and figuring out what her strengths are and what her skill sets are, and how that matched with our company. And I told her, I said, sometimes you'll be serving food, sometimes you'll be washing dishes, sometimes you'll be doing a little bit of everything. But if you stick with it, we'll see where we can place you. So fast forward to now, she's now our PR person. And well, she wears a lot of hats, but she's now moving and gradually progressing into that area of marketing for us. And so that's another full circle story. She's also a graduate of UNC Pembroke. Our Chef Lanasia, is a graduate from culinary school. She's from Virginia, and she moved here. She was working for a company that wasn't really utilizing all of her gifts and talents. So she came to a company, and I told her the same thing. You might be washing dishes, you might be prepping at first, and now she's our head chef. And so, it's a beautiful thing. For the biggest thing, Dr. Wilkerson, that I really am an advocate for in giving back is giving people a platform and an opportunity to express their passion.
Yes.
Because that was given to me. I've been fortunate to be put in positions to where I could say what I wanted to say, think how I wanted to think, and move how I wanted to move, respectfully, in alignment
Right.
with the company,
Hmm.
of course. But I realized in offering that to people that that's not something that's offered to them very often.
Right.
Um, and so I'm so thankful for who we have, and how things are coming full circle with the staffing that we have, and even expanding into more, being able to offer that even more.
That is so great because that's what really I think if COVID hasn't taught us anything else, it's that we've got to help other people. We're all in this together. We're not living on an island. We're not off in our own worlds. All a rising tide, raises all boats. So if there's somebody that is working and wants to need some help, giving that helping hand is like the best thing that we can do. Best
Hmm.
thing that we can do. And I love how you talked about the progression of your PR person and your head chef, how, you know, this is where you're going to start.
Right?
Where you end is up to you.
Yeah.
Where you end is up to you. And I think it's so important that young folks hear that you don't start out at the top, that you pay your dues, you work your way up, you learn skills, you learn how to work as a team, you learn how to problem solve, and you show how you can take initiative within the organization. And people are always watching, people are always looking for people that are doing good.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
always looking for people that are doing good. So I really love that what you've been able to do with friends upscale comfort food. And I just love that name because I love the whole idea of comfort food because as you said, think about all the times that deals are made or even just families getting together. Food always comes into play.
Hmm.
Food always comes into play. And it doesn't matter where you are. Yesterday, my husband and I and two of our friends, um, we had been determined we were going to get to the Black Farmers Market up in Raleigh.
Hmm.
And they had, so they were up in Raleigh yesterday at the Southeast Raleigh YMCA. So we drove up and, we're looking and talking with the different vendors. And there were a couple of food trucks. So you had to end up with food. And it was funny because we were like, sitting on the curb with our plates and other people walking by with their plates and, discussing the food. And it's just that food brings people together. It brings out, I don't know, it just brings out the goodness. And, so I just love that whole idea of having people at the table around food that have those opportunities, those conversations. I go back to our first conversation. We were sitting at a table at Winter Bloom Tea,
Yeah,
and talking about the different teas and what have you. And, Josh giving us lessons on the different teas. I still love that place so much.
I do
Um,
too.
so I just love the whole vibe that you have with your company.
Thank you.
You can't help but smile when you see the pictures, when you hear what you're saying, and what the mission and vision and the value that you're bringing to the community. I just think it's like so wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I will say, a lot of the foundational skills that I learned during teaching has transcended over into entrepreneurship, right? So one thing that I was drilled as an educator is differentiated instruction, being able to teach people the same thing in different ways. That transcends over in entrepreneurship. I don't care what area of business you are in, your ability to understand information so well that you can teach another person really shows how well you understand what you're doing. But lucky for me, I had a leg up in that because teaching taught me how to do that. Um, so it all kind of played in together.
I love how you connect to the differentiated instruction in teaching and how that transferred into your business, because I think sometimes, so all you educators, all you teachers out there, and you're wondering what your next career is going to be or what your next step is going to be, and how do you take what you learned in the classroom and either create a side hustle that may become your full time or what have you. Just meditate a little bit on Portia's words about taking what we know as educators, and how do you take that and move it into another realm? We all have transferable skills. We just
Yeah.
have to be willing to see how they can be used. And I love what you said about when you're teaching someone else, if you're able to teach someone else so that they understand, that also means that you know it really well.
Yeah.
It means you know, because you can't teach somebody if you don't know the material.
That is so true.
So
That
I
is,
love that. I love that whole idea. As a former teacher, I keep saying former teacher, but I tell somebody, I said, once a teacher, always a teacher.
always,
You're always
always.
in the teaching mode. You're always going. Sometimes I find myself talking to someone. I was saying something to my husband one day, and he goes, "Okay, you got that teacher voice going on."
It
And
comes out.
oh, okay. Well, let me take that teacher hat off. I said, but it's such a part of my DNA. And I know it's a part of your DNA. So I love that you were able to share that. Because I think it's something that educators out there need to hear so that they can see that, if and when they decide to change careers, they already have so many skills that's going to put them where they need to be.
Yeah.
So I
And I
love
will say this too. While I am an advocate for entrepreneurship, because that's in me deep, deep, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. A good idea is not always a business. A good idea is sometimes a contribution to another business for bigger businesses. Um, don't be afraid of partnerships. Don't be afraid of, again, collaboration over competition. I think some people really make um, decisions to jump into entrepreneurship because we live in a TikTok generation who show you a 60-second clip and it looks cool and it looks easy and they show you what works for them, but it's not always what works for them. May not work for you. It's not
yes.
always a thing of, it's easy or, that's a huge misconception. A lot of people say, if you own your own business, you don't work as hard. That's not true. You work
No.
you work almost 4 times as hard,
Yes.
but because you're passionate about it, they say it doesn't feel like work. Yes, it does feel like work. It does feel like work. Don't believe any of that. But what gets you through is your passion and your vision and just your
Yes.
mission and what you're doing, your why you're doing it is going to keep you where you are. So don't just jump into it for the freedom or for the trend that it's in now. Um, I did just want to put that tidbit in there because I hear that so much,
Yeah.
so many people, it's like, I want to start a business. I want to start a business. And they just have a nice idea or they just have a nice talent. But
Mhm.
truthfully, pulling all of our talents together in some cases can make for a bigger and more beautiful thing. Um, Wolfgang Puck is a virtual mentor of mine in that I watch everything that they do. I
Mhm.
love everything that they do, and I try to emulate a lot of the things that they do. Um, I remember when I first started out, I had a target amount of events that I wanted to do. And we still have measurable metrics that we have, but I don't focus on that number so much anymore.
Mhm.
I focus on the quality more. Once I started focusing on the quality more, other numbers started to get bigger and better. And that was just a full circle thing for me. Wolfgang Puck, he doesn't even do half the amount of some other caterers, and he makes 4 times the amount of revenue as other people. And I
Mhm.
was wondering, well, why is that? That's because they focus on the quality. The delegation and the process flows that they've implemented is so strategic that they have no reason not to succeed. Um,
Yes.
but a lot of what came with what he has is his expansion and other people's willingness to trust his vision
Yes.
and trust his company's vision and grow with the company. And that's very rare in our industry, in the hospitality industry, to
Mhm.
have people that will grow with you. Um, but I feel like the right people will. So yeah, in entrepreneurship, don't be afraid to partner and collaborate, even if it's for a season, for a moment, for a time, whatever. Um, get all you can and glean all you can from who you can while you can.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love your honesty and saying entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Hmm.
And when I hear people say Oh, you work for yourself. You can do whatever. Yeah. So I'm now, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. So, like, if my tech acts up, I'm my tech person. If
Yep.
I need to make appointments, I'm my appointment person. If I need to do some research, I'm my research person. Now, I can move out and collaborate, but I also know where I want my business to go and how I want it to look. So I just know that I had to learn all those skills, because if I'm to teach them to someone else, I need to know what it is first.
Right.
I need to know what it is first. And I love what you said about how you observe Wolfgang Puck and you watch the quality of his work and you use that as a model for what
Mhm.
you want your business to look like. And I think that's so important that people are observant and they focus. And I love what you said about focusing on quality.
Mhm.
Focusing on quality, because that's the thing. If people know, like, and trust you, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
They're going to come back, or they're going to refer you to someone, or say, I had such and such, or I did this and that. I remember, I think the first time I had something, I think you were doing a tasting. You were
Uh-huh.
doing like this tasting, and I had gone to that. I said, "Ooh, that food was kind of good."
Mhm.
And then when we had the opportunity and we were picking the people to cater our luncheon, and I mentioned it to Anne Marie, she goes, "Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do that." So again, like I said, just watching your growth, hearing you talk about how the steps that you took. I hope for folks that are out there watching this who are planning on being entrepreneurs, whether it's in the hospitality business or some other business, I hope you're really listening to these lessons that Portia is sharing with you, because they are so valuable. And it's so important that you listen to people who have already gone there, who have already made mistakes, who had to learn. It gives you an opportunity now to maybe start out a little further ahead, because you're learning from the lessons of other people out there. So hopefully, folks, you're listening, and you're going to take some lessons from this. So I'm going to switch over a little bit. So I always ask people to recommend a book. I love books. I just love everything that books have and books offer us. And so, what was the book that you recommended?
Hamlet.
Okay.
Hamlet by Shakespeare.
Okay.
Um, that's like, and I kind of cheated a little bit because I read the entire book in school. We read it as a class. Really, the play. What we read the
Right.
play, but of course, his plays are literature too.
Right.
But I remember hearing for the first time the "To Thine Own Self Be True" excerpt in its entirety, and I remember hearing my grandma say, "To thine own self be true," and just old folks saying that, and I'm like,
Hmm.
that's where they got it from. They got it from Shakespeare. Um, so the excerpt in particular that I really love, and um, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, I think this excerpt just is a great thing to apply in life. Um, it's when the chief minister was giving advice to his son. His son was getting ready to go on a journey. Um, and as his son was getting ready to go, he's just giving him advice, a whole bunch of advice. And I have applied this advice to every part of my life. Any transition that I'm going through, any questions that I may have, any um, hurdles that I may encounter, or any walls that I feel that I'm backed up against, I always remember know, these words that he gave to him on his journey as he was going on his journey. And just some of the words, of course, "To thine own self be true" is one, and it's one of the most popular ones. But, he said things like, "Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice." Be quick to listen and slow to speak. That's Bible. And a lot of little sayings like, "Don't be a borrower or a lender." It just wise sayings like that. He's spitting them out as he's getting ready to go on this journey. It's a lot, but I always encourage a lot of people to read that excerpt. But truly, the entire thing, by Shakespeare was good, but that stood out to me a lot and stands out to me through life. I just find myself going back and back and back to that excerpt all the time.
Classic literature never fails us.
Uh,
It never does. So I love that.
like,
When I saw that you had put that, I said, "Oh, Hamlet." I said, "Okay, let me see how she's going to connect this." That
uh,
was, again. So for all you young folks out there that are complaining that your English teacher, oh man, we got to read this Shakespeare thing. Listen to it. Find out the lessons. Let the lessons speak to you, and then figure out how you can use them. And anytime you can go see a Shakespearean play or a performance, go do so. We have our wonderful in Fayetteville. We have our Sweet Shakespeare, Sweet Tea Shakespeare
yeah,
company. Go and see plays that they have. You can go onto their website, go onto their Facebook page, Sweet Tea Shakespeare, and find out more about that. So I
yeah,
really think it's important. I just love how you were able to make that connection and pull those
mhm,
pieces out and pull
yeah,
those. That is so
yeah.
great.
And I want to say I was in like middle school at this time. And so we're like reading thus and thy and all this, and I'm like, please, you know. But I'm thankful for that because here I am, well past middle school. I went back to it. I didn't forget about it. It's a
Right.
lot of other books like Cyclops and a whole bunch of other stuff. I never
Mhm.
forgot about any of this stuff. Um, but I find myself circling back around and saying, wow, I had some amazing teachers that imparted some amazing things in my life because as an adult, I'm going back to them. And this is just one of them.
Mhm. Okay. That is so good. It was funny because I didn't know that's what you were going to say, and that you were going to talk about collaboration over competition. But I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of books. And lately I've been looking at children's books, as because children's books have a way of giving lessons that we sometimes overlook. And this new
Yeah.
children's book had came to my attention, so just gonna share this. So this is called the Three Little Engines, and it just came out this year. And it's a kind of a retelling of The Little Engine That Could.
Uh huh.
And just when you were talking, I said, "Oh my God, this book is so apropos to what she's saying." So it says that, it shares the timely message that everyone's journey is different, and that sometimes success comes from a helping hand. So
Wow.
this is one of those books I said, my seniors might be getting this like for a graduation present. They're gonna be, why is she giving us a children's book? But the lessons in it are amazing, and they're applicable from early age right on through, your last stage of life, because it's just a beautiful story. And sometimes you need to hear a message in a short telling. In a
Yes.
short telling.
And take what you need. Take what you need from it. Take what applies. In all
Yeah.
of my classes at UNC Pembroke, um, Miss Fickling, well, Dr. Fickling now, a couple of my professors that were
Mhm.
teaching me to be a teacher, they would always open up the class during the semester with a children's book. And they would read us a children's book. And we would be so beat up in college and just exams and life. And
Yeah.
so we would sit there for the first 10, 15 minutes and listen to this book and just get lost. You know,
Yeah.
that children's literature really does. It's timeless. It's timely.
It is. It is. So what advice would you give, or what last bit of advice would you like to give to some young person, or just some person my age, that is thinking about going into entrepreneurship, but in particular going into the hospitality field?
I would say my biggest advice is to self examine, do some self work, some self examination before jumping into the business work. Because who you are is gonna be what you bring to the table. or what you bring to your business or what you bring to that idea that you have or whatever. So really examining yourself and being self-aware is something that me and my life coach has done. We've now been working together over a year. But something that we've done in that year, something that she's taught me is to work with myself, to know myself so well enough that I know what's me, what's not me, what's realistic for me to do, and what's not, and to work with who I am and not try to change who I am. Um,
Okay.
so do some self reflection and some self work and self examination and learn how to work with yourself.
Oh, I love that. I think if we all had the opportunity to do that self-examination, um, we would just be in a better place today as a country, as a world. Um, I just thank you so much for being here this evening. You have given us so many words of wisdom. So for folks who are watching this live or people who are watching this on the replay, um, you need to get out your notebook. You need to get out your notebook and take a few notes because there are some fabulous lessons in here that you'll be able to apply to any aspect of your life. Portia, I just thank you so much. I
Thank
am
you.
so glad that you and Mahalia had the vision to put this together and that you did that self-examination. And thank you to your life coach for getting you to where you are today. I appreciate your life coach because your life coach is giving us the best version of you.
Thank you, Queen. Her name's Queen.
So, so I just love that. I love that. And folks, wait, October, pay attention. Look for the opening of the Friends Table. Was it so give me the full name so I make sure I get it right.
Yes, the Friends Table Restaurant and Provisions Company.
Okay, the Friends Table Restaurant and Provisions Company.
Yes.
Okay. So folks, if you want to make sure you check them out on all kinds of social media because we can't do anything without social media these days if we're in entrepreneurship. Again, Portia, like thank you so much. This has been one of the most, I don't know, rewarding for me personally. I just love the idea of seeing watching you
Thank
grow. Like you
you.
said, I'm just so happy to see the success that you're having, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. It just makes me
Thank
happy.
you.
So,
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilkinson. I tell people all the time, you're my favorite person ever because you
oh
introduced me to Winter Bloom and you introduced us to so many great opportunities. So thank you so much. And we appreciate you. And we can't wait to serve you soon at the table.
yes, yes, I will be there. I will be there. Mask on, whatever I need to do, I will be there. So, folks, thank you so much for joining in this evening. If you have any comments, you can always still let us know on the Facebook page, or also this is also on my YouTube channel, so you can watch it again there or share it there with people. And I will see all of you next Monday evening at 7 p.m. with another guest. And take care and have a fantastic week, everyone. Again, Portia, thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you.
Okay, hold on for a minute, Portia.
Okay.